Good morning, Team Alabama. We are going to continue reading in Hunger Games. Please join me on your Chromebooks. We are on page 310. And it's true, PETA has always had enough to eat, but there's something kind of depressing about living your life on stale bread, the hard, dry loaves that no one else wanted. One thing about us, since I bring our food home on a daily basis, most of it is so fresh that you have to make sure it isn't going to make a run for it. Somewhere during my shift, the rain stops, not gradually, but all at once. The downpour ends, and there's only the residual drippings of water from branches, the rush of the now overflowing stream below us. A full, beautiful moon emerges, and even without the glasses, I can see outside. I can't decide if the moon is real or merely a projection of the game makers. I know it was full shortly before I left home. Gail and I watched it rise as we hunted into the late hours. How long have I been gone? I'm guessing it's been about 2 weeks in the arena, and there was the week of preparation in the Capitol. Maybe the moon has completed its cycle. For some reason, I badly want it to be my moon, the same one that I see from the woods around District 12. That would give me something to cling to in this surreal world of the arena where the authenticity of everything is to be doubted. 4 of us left. For the first time, I allow myself to truly think about the possibility that I might make it home, to fame, to wealth, to my own house in the Victor's Village. My mother and Prim would live there with me, no more fear of hunger, a new kind of freedom. But then what? What would my life be like on a daily basis? Most of it has been consumed with the acquisition of food. Take that away, and I'm not really sure who I am, what my identity is. The idea scares me some. I think of Haymitch, with all his money. What did his life become? He lives alone, no wife or children, most of his waking hours drunk. I don't want to end up like that. But you won't be alone, I whisper to myself. I have my mother and Prim, well, for the time being. And then I don't want to think about then when Prim has grown up. My mother passed away. I know I'll never marry, never risk bringing a child into the world, because if there's one thing being a victor doesn't guarantee, it's your children's safety. My kids' names would go right into the reaping balls with everyone else's, and I swear I'll never let that happen. The sun eventually rises, the light slipping through the cracks and illuminating PETA's face. Who will he transform into if we make it home? This perplexing, good-natured boy who can spin out lies so convincingly, the whole of Pan Am believes him to be hopelessly in love with me. And I'll admit it, there are moments when he makes me believe it myself. At least we'll be friends, I think. Nothing will change the fact that we've saved each other's lives in here, and beyond that, he will always be the boy with the bread. Good friends. Anything beyond that, though, and I feel Gail's gray eyes, watching PETA all the way from District 12. Discomfort causes me to move. I scoot over and shake PETA's shoulders. His eyes open sleepily, and when they focus on me, he pulls me down for a long kiss. We're wasting hunting time, I say, when I finally break away. I wouldn't call it wasting, he says, giving a big stretch as he sits up. So do we hunt on empty stomachs to give us an edge? Not us, I say. We stuff ourselves to give us staying power. Count me in, PETA says. But I can see he's surprised when I divide the rest of the stew and rice and hand a heaping plate to him. All this? We'll earn it back today, I say. And we both plow into our plates, even cold. It's one of the best things I've ever tasted. I abandon my fork and scrape up the last dabs of gravy with my fingers. I can feel Effie Trinket shuddering at my manners. Hey, Effie, watch this, says PETA. He tosses his fork over his shoulder and literally licks his plate clean with his tongue, making loud, satisfied noises. And then he blows a kiss out to her in general and calls, "We miss you, Effie." I cover my mouth with my hand, but I am laughing. Stop. Cato could be right outside our cave. He grabs my hand anyway. What do I care? I've got you to protect me now, says Peeta, pulling me to him. Come on, I say in exasperation, extricating myself from his grasp, but not before he gets in another kiss. Once we packed up and standing outside of our cave, our mood shifts to serious. It's as though for the last few days, sheltered by the rocks and the rain and Cato's preoccupation with Thresh, that we were given a respite, a holiday of sorts. Now, although the day is sunny and warm, we both sense we really are back in the games. I hand Peeta my knife, since whatever weapons he once had are long gone, and he slips it into his belt. My last 7 arrows of the 12 that I sacrificed, 3 in the explosion, 2 at the feast, rattle a bit loosely in the quiver. I cannot afford to lose any more. He'll be hunting us by now, says Peeta. Cato isn't one to wait for his prey to wander by. If he's wounded, I begin. It won't matter, Peeta breaks in. If he can move, he's coming. With all the rain, the stream has overrun its banks by several feet on either side. We stop there to replenish our water. I check the snares that I set days ago and come up empty, not surprising with the weather. Besides, I haven't seen many animals or signs of them in this area. If we want food, we better head back up to my old hunting grounds, I say. Your call. Just tell me what you need me to do, Peeta says. Keep an eye out, I say. Stay on the rocks as much as possible. No sense in leaving him tracks to follow. And listen for both of us. It's clear at this point that the explosion destroyed the hearing in my left ear for good. I'd walked to the water to cover our tracks completely, but I am not sure Peeta's leg could take the current. Although the drugs have erased the infection, he's still pretty weak. My forehead hurts along the knife cut, but after 3 days, the bleeding has stopped. I wear a bandage around my head, though just in case physical exertion should bring it back. As we head up alongside the stream, we pass the place where I found Peeta camouflaged in the weeds and mud. One good thing between the downpour and the flooded banks, all signs of his hiding place have been wiped out. That means, if need be, we can come back to our cave. Otherwise, I wouldn't risk it with Cato after us. The boulders diminished to rocks that eventually turned to pebbles, and then to my relief, we're back on pine needles and the gentle incline of the forest floor. For the first time, I realize we have a problem. Navigating the rocky terrain with a bad leg, well, you're naturally going to make some noise. But even on the smooth bed of needles, Peeta is loud, and I mean loud, loud, as if he's stomping his feet or something, and I turn and look at him. What, he asks. You've got to move more quietly, I say. Forget about Cato. You're chasing off every rabbit in a 10-mile radius. Really, he says. Sorry, I didn't know. So we start up again, and he's a tiny bit better, but even with only one working ear, he's making me jump. Can you take your boots off, I suggested. Here? He asks in disbelief, as if I'd asked him to walk barefoot on hot coals or something. I have to remind myself that he's still not used to the